Hello and welcome to another JavaFx application. I believe this is JavaFx application number 11 video. And believe it or not, in this video I'm actually going to start doing some styling in the style sheet and the CSS style sheet. I did promise it in the last video, but then I wanted to not have the video that long, so I only prepared the calendar for the style sheet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to right click on, well, I'm first going to just do a bit of explanation. So here we call the style sheet. As you can remember probably from the console, we called our own style sheet there, which is in the resources folder. However, in the calendar I'm going to just call the application CSS, which is inside the applications folder there. So we are not actually going to have to change any of this directory here because it is already in the same package. I did say folder, but it's package. So we don't need to change any of that. And I'm going to start just with the labels that we've created. We've created some labels here, and I'm just going to set the size and some background colors and things like that. So, and I am going to open, I'm going to right click on the application, and I'm going to say open with, and I'm going to say text editor, because that opens it in the Eclipse text editor, and it remembers just much better, and it saves it automatically before it runs and all that kind of stuff. You can open it as a separate text txt, but I just found I had lots of problems with that. So if you have opened it for the first time, your CSS application, you will have some default text at the top, which you can just go ahead and delete. And we're going to start with the dot label. And the label has got its own class for the CSS, so we don't really need the own style class. So if we do dot label, we'll style all the labels we have. Now I know with the day labels I'm going to do some changes to that, but with the date labels I want them to all have the same style. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do the background color first of all. So it's FX, and it's as easy as background and then color. And then to set the color, you can use any color. I just went on my Google, I typed in color picker, and I just selected this color, and I'm just going to copy the hex here. So just copy that, and then I'm just going to go back into Eclipse, and I'm just going to paste it, Control V, not caps V, and we must put the semicolon behind that. So now if we run this, it should save this automatically. Let's go ahead and see whether it's done that. Yep, and it's done, so it's saved it all there. So let's hope it's all going to work okay. But I've had a few issues, but it should be alright now. So I'm going to just set the text alignment center. So we're going to do FX and background. Sorry, I'm just reading what's up there. Alignment, and we're just going to say center. So that should center the text, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set the minimum width of our label, so min width, and that's just going to be 50. And then I'm going to set the min height as well, so I want the labels to have minimum height, and that's going to be 30, so it's slightly bigger than the text. So it should see that that the text should be nicely centered. Now I do hope this has worked all very well and dandy. I never know what goes wrong, but there we go, it's worked very nicely. We do have our labels a bit longer and so on. Oh, and I did take the GridPane, the grid lines out. So let's just, oh, maybe they're hidden. So let's just go and have a look at the calendar. No, we do still have the grid lines visible. I'm just going to take those out. I think the labels are just a bit sizey for the grid lines to show. And then we'll just run the application again. And it's good just to, whenever we've made some changes, to test it. And very good. So now what I want to do is I want to style the grid pane, our calendar grid pane, so that it has got spaces in between the labels. And in order to style the grid pane, we do have to point the grid pane into the right direction. So, and to do that, we have to say to the grid pane so the calendar, and we have to say to it to get the style sheet, the style class. So get style. Did I do something wrong there? Yeah, that should be capital. Then the auto text will help. And we're going to say dot get style class. So if we just scroll down, it's that one, style class, and we're going to say dot add, and we're going to add a pointer to that, which is just going to be grid. So that's on the wrong side of the bracket. I do have a habit of doing that. I do apologize for that. So if we then go into our application CSS, we now need to create a dot. That's not a dot. This is a dot. Grid. So that's how our way of pointing the grid into the right direction. I'm going to tab out there, and we're going to just set the horizontal gap and the vertical gap. So fx, and it's h. What am I doing here? Let's try again. Let's tab out and do this, and fx, and it's h gap for the vertical gap. Sorry, for the horizontal gap, and I'm going to set that to 5. Let's just keep it there. And then for the fx vertical gap, I'm also going to just set that to 5. So now, if I'm not mistaken, we should have some gaps in between our labels. So if we start that, there we go. We've got nice gaps in between our labels, and it's starting to look more like a calendar. Now, the last thing I want to do is I'm going to change the background color for the days. And I'm not going to do that in the style sheet because it's only those days that I want to change. It's not all the labels. I mean, it's only those labels I want to change. So I'm going to go where I create the day label, which is here, and I'm going to say day label, and here we're going to go say set style, and the style we want to set for that is going to be fx, and we're just going to change the background color, ground, and its color, and that's going to be, I've already got a nice color I want for that, but you can go back to your color picker, select any color picker that you want, and I'm just going to use this one, and we're going to close the commas like that. So now if we run the application, we should find that our day labels is a different color for now. So I hope you found that useful. I think that was a great video. It went very well. I've had a couple of tries with this and I had some problems, but this seemed to have worked really well. And the problems I had mostly was, let me just show you that because it might be helpful for other people, is if you open, just double click on this application here, and if you open it in the notepad and just edit all this in the notepad, it seems to have some complications with sorting out the code and stuff like that, and that's the reason why I just open it with the text editor, which is this text editor inside Eclipse, and it seems to work a lot better for me. So I hope that was useful. If you do enjoy the video, if it was helpful, please do not forget to click like and watch my other videos. Subscribe if you really enjoy it, and happy coding!